Without warning, Dante, a retired K-9 German Shepherd stationed at the school, leapt to his feet, his eyes locked on the large painting at the front of the room. He growled low, a sound that rumbled like distant thunder. The kids froze. Then chaos erupted. In an instant, Dante charged the painting. His powerful jaws tore through canvas, ripping it clean from the wall. Students screamed, paint cups spilled, brushes hit the floor. Officer Daniels, Dante's handler, stood frozen. For a split second, he didn't know whether to pull his dog back or let him finish what he'd started. Something was wrong, very wrong. The K-9 program at Lincoln Middle had been part of a new district initiative. After a string of incidents in nearby schools, local law enforcement began pairing trained officers and retired service dogs with campuses for added security and community trust. Officer Daniels and Dante were the face of that change. Kids adored Dante. He wasn't just a dog, he was a hero in fur. They played with him during lunch, taught him new tricks, even made him his own Student of the Week badge. Dante had served years as a bomb-sniffing dog, sharp, obedient, and nearly impossible to startle. So when he growled, people listened. The painting had always hung in room 114, towering from floor to ceiling. Its image was striking, an American flag whipping in the wind, shadows of soldiers stretching across a desolate field. It unsettled most students, but Mrs. Carroll always defended it. "It's a piece of history," she said, her voice soft and far away. No one questioned her. The story behind it was vague, sentimental. But that day when Dante barked, it became clear the painting might be hiding more than just emotion. Maybe it hid the truth. Officer Daniels moved quickly, calling out, "Dante, no!" But it was too late. The German Shepherd had already lunged, sinking his teeth into the lower corner of the massive canvas. The painting tore like paper, splitting down the middle. Gasps filled the room. Some students ducked under their desks. Others stood frozen, eyes wide. Behind the shredded fabric was something no one expected. A small, rusted metal handle, embedded in the wall, barely visible behind the torn canvas edges. Not part of the painting, not decorative, real. Daniels rushed forward, pulling Dante back by his harness, heart pounding. The wall behind the artwork wasn't drywall. It was cold, hard steel, like a sealed panel or hidden door. "Someone get Principal Harding," he said, voice sharp. Within minutes, the classroom was evacuated. Students flooded into the hallway, buzzing with rumors. Had the dog smelled gas? A bomb? Drugs? Inside room 114, Daniels stood alone beside the exposed panel. Mrs. Carroll, pale and trembling, sat at her desk whispering, "I didn't know it was there. I swear. That painting's been in my family since I was a child." But Dante wasn't barking at her. He was barking at the truth. An hour later, the bomb squad arrived. They scanned the panel, checked for explosives, and carefully pried it open with magnetic tools and handheld scanners. With a slow groan, the steel door creaked open, and a cold gust of air rushed out. Behind the wall was a hidden room, roughly the size of a walk-in closet. Dust filled the air. The space was lined with rusted file cabinets, old metal lockers, and shelves stacked with reels of magnetic tape. A reel-to-reel recorder sat in one corner, half covered in cobwebs. There were no explosives, no drugs. But there was something else, a presence, something that hadn't been touched in decades. Officer Daniels stepped inside, flashlight scanning. Folders were stamped confidential in red ink. Some were labeled with student names. Others had strange titles. Project TS, Unit 14, Echo Debrief. One folder stopped him cold. It was labeled Leighton Cole H. Carroll. He turned toward Mrs. Carroll, who had just entered behind him, eyes wide with disbelief. "That's my father," she whispered. "He was stationed overseas in the 70s. He gave me that painting. He said it was from his last mission." Daniels didn't respond, but something in Dante's eyes told him they had only scratched the surface. The FBI took over within hours. A mobile audio lab was parked behind the school, and the tapes found in the hidden room were quickly digitized. Daniels didn't wait. At 7 a.m. the next morning, he stood inside an old audio shop downtown, one of the only places left with a working reel-to-reel player. The store owner hit play. The tape hissed, then a voice cut through, firm, clipped, military. This is Leighton Cole Harold Carroll. Subject 09 has completed primary adjustment. Cognitive retention is above threshold. A pause. We begin integration today. Objective: memory suppression, long-term disassociation from operative history. Then a second voice, a child's, trembling. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home. Please, can I talk to my dad? The colonel's voice snapped back. Proceed with cycle reset. Daniel sat in stunned silence. Embedded memory suppression. Subject 9. He drove straight to Mrs. Carroll's house. She opened the locket they'd found in the underground room. Inside, a photo of her and her father. Tears filled her eyes. That's me, she whispered. Ma'am, Daniel said gently, we believe you might be subject 09. She stared at the photo, hands shaking. But I thought I grew up overseas. Daniels didn't speak. Some memories aren't forgotten. They're buried. While investigators sorted through the remaining files, Daniels found one that hadn't been opened yet. The tab read, Subject 10. Inside was a grainy photo of a young girl, maybe 8 years old. Dark hair, wide eyes, expression frozen somewhere between fear and confusion. Scribbled beneath it, no known relatives. Final cycle incomplete. Status disappeared. There were no birth records, no social security number. Just a single note at the bottom. Last seen near Southfield Orphanage, 1982. Dog reported disturbance. Entry denied. Case closed. Daniel's heart sank. Another child. Another secret. But what caught his attention most was a line in a child's journal found in the same file. He never left. The dog stayed. A black and white dog. Not Dante. Daniel shared the file with Mrs. Carroll. Her face went pale. I've been dreaming of her, she whispered. That girl, she's always hiding. There's always a dog near her. A border collie. I don't know how, but I see her. Dante, sitting nearby, let out a soft growl, his gaze fixed on the floor. Daniels knew that look. They weren't done. Later that week, Dante grew restless during a routine patrol. As they passed the abandoned Southfield lot, once the site of the orphanage, he whined, then bolted from the cruiser before Daniels could stop him. Nose to the ground, Dante zigzagged across the cracked pavement, then stopped at a rusted manhole cover near the far corner. Etched beside it in the concrete, a 41010. It wasn't a street number, it was a designation, Subject 10. Ground-penetrating radar confirmed a hollow space below. The crew began digging. Hours later, they unearthed a sealed chamber, no doors, no locks, as if it was never meant to be opened again. Inside, faded walls, rusted furniture, and a child's mural painted across one side. A gate, a girl, a dog. At the bottom, scrawled in shaky black paint. I remember now. Daniels found a journal. The last line read, The dog remembered. I never forgot. This wasn't just a discovery. It was a cry for help left decades ago. The town of Fairhaven didn't erupt in panic. This time it paused. Candlelight vigils lined the school steps. Former students wrote tributes online. They hadn't just uncovered a Cold War secret. They'd unearthed a piece of someone's stolen childhood. Mrs. Carroll returned to the school only once, to leave behind a new painting. Soft blues, hints of yellow, no secrets, no codes, just peace. Room 114 was sealed forever. Officer Daniels uploaded the story to their channel, titling it, K9 Dog Uncovers Hidden Room in School. What he found changed everything. And as always, Dante sat beside him, tail thumping, watching the truth finally come to light.